Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome and welcome back. So right now, if you haven't read the title, this is part 2, and we're gonna be finishing up the whole everything. We're gonna be finishing up everything, starting from section 7. So yeah, we got this. You and I, we're gonna pass. Okay, don't worry. Like, I know we paid $40, but it's okay. We're gonna persist, and yeah, we're gonna win because we're what? We're winners. Okay, let's start this. Wherever you are. Okay, there you go. We're on first aid, chapter 7, section 7. Wait, let me hit completion reward. Okay.
Remember these critical behaviors for maintaining proper surveillance in your zone. On the following screens, you'll complete activities that will allow you to flex some of your surveillance skills.
Ooh, I'm gonna flex them. Surveillance refresher. Remember these critical behaviors for maintaining proper surveillance in your zone. Zones are the specific areas of the water that are your responsibility to scan from your lifeguard station. The size and shape of each zone allows lifeguards to respond quickly to victims in the water. Lifeguards should be able to recognize and reach a victim in their zone within 30 seconds. Lifeguards should be able to recognize an emergency, reach the victim, and remove the victim from water and give ventilations within 1 minute and 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
You are the lifeguard on duty. From your chair, see if you can identify the situations and behaviors that are setting the scene for a potential emergency to occur. Ready?
Okay.
Start scanning.
I think I see a kid drowning. Okay. There was a child sitting near me.
You are the lifeguard on duty. From your chair,
I see children acting like seals near me. I saw children playing football, yes. Child playing near end of slide, yes. Children under the fountain, if that if that thing is a fountain, then yes. Yes. There was unattended children by, if you can see like in the left corner, there's one unattended child on a water wall. What is that? Older children walking on water wall. What's a water wall? Let me just look. There's a kid that went up the slide or is trying to go up the slide. Oh, I think I see the water wall. Yeah, okay. There's another kid trying to go on the wall. And another kid gonna go on the wall. Oh my god. Yes, there's children sitting near my stand. All of them is right. I clearly saw people playing football. I saw a kid throw a ball. Stop. Not quite. The children playing with a football and standing near your stand are not emergency situation. I didn't know that. Like, yes, everything that was listed happened. But you didn't ask for emergency situations. Okay, whatever.
What did you see? As you watch the video again,
Or did
see
they?
if you caught the hazards present.
I guess. Okay. I was wrong there.
Situation until the lifeguard who focused on the older kids is back at their post.
Okay.
Back at the main pool, you are now watching patrons swim in deeper water. As you do, remember to watch for any signals that someone may need help at a moment's notice.
Okay.
Ready? Start scanning.
Someone's coughing. There's literally a drowned body. Oh my gosh. I just noticed that. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, there's a drowned body. That is scary. Like, it literally caught my eye and I got scared. I was like, oh shoot. Why isn't anyone doing anything? Okay. There was a young boy.
Back at the main pool, you are now watching patrons swim. Watch for any signals that some.
Oh yeah, I see him now. That's yeah, I guess. That's a pretty hazardous person. Um Everything but the last one, I would say. Children walking on the pool deck near the edge. I mean, Like, what if they slip and fall? You know what I'm saying? Like, they said near. I don't know what near means or is considered near. Maybe if they said right on the edge. Yeah, okay.
Watch the video again. See if you spotted the hazards.
But definitely there was that submerged
Been
person at
present
the
for the
bottom.
entire video. When did you spot it?
That was crazy.
If you encounter an ill or injured person, and after completing a primary assessment you determine that there are no life-threatening conditions, you should perform a secondary assessment. Use the SAMPLE acronym as an easy way to remember what things you should ask about when you take the brief medical history as part of the secondary assessment.
S. Signs and symptoms. Check the victim for signs and symptoms of injuries and illnesses. These include bleeding, skin that is cool and moist, pain, nausea, headache, and difficulty breathing. A. Allergies. Determine if the victim is allergic to any medications, food, or environmental elements such as pollen or bees. M. Medication. Find out if the victim is taking any prescriptions or non-prescriptions medications and whether they took them today as prescribed. P. Pretended past medical history. Determine if the victim has a medical condition, has had medical problem in the past, or recently has been hospitalized. Last oral intake. L. Find out what the victim most recently ingested by mouth, as well as the volume or dose consumed. This includes food and drinks. E. Events leading up to the incident. Determine what the victim was doing before and at the time of the incident. Okay.
Let's take a look at the steps you should take to check a responsive person in a little more detail.
In a little more detail. Check the head. Look at the scalp, face, ears, eyes, nose, and mouth for cuts, bumps, bruises, and depressions. Note if the victim has any changes in level of consciousness, LOC, such as dizziness or feels lightheaded. Um, Check skin, appearance, and temperature. Feel the victim's forehead with the back of your hand and note if the skin is cold or hot. Look at the color of the victim's face and lips. Look at the victim's skin and note if it is moist or dry, or if it is red, pale, flushed, or ashen. Check the neck. Ask the victim to move their head from side to side. If there is no discomfort and if an injury to the neck is not suspected, note pain, discomfort, or inability to move. Check the shoulders. Ask the victim to shrug their shoulders. Caution: the person to not move any parts if they experience discomfort or pain. Ask Check the chest and abdomen. Ask the victim to take a deep breath and blow air out. Listen to difficulty or changes in breathing. Ask the victim if they can experiencing Ask the victim if they are experiencing pain during breathing. Check the arms. Check the arms at a time. Ask the victim to move their hand and fingers and to bend the arm. Caution: the person to not move any parts if they experience discomfort or pain. Look for a medical identification ID tag bracelet on the person's wrist. Check the legs. Check one leg at a time. Ask the victim to move their foot and toes and to bend the leg. Caution: the person to not move any parts if they experience discomfort or pain. Look for a medical ID tag on the person's ankle.
Once you have finished checking the victim, provide care for any conditions found.
Provide care. If the person is unable to move a body part or experience pain when moving, help the person rest in a comfortable position. Keep the head pers- Keep the person's head from getting chilled or overheated. Reassuring the person. Determine whether to summon EMS personnel. Continue to watch the changes in LOC, level of consciousness, and breathing.
Hi, I'm a lifeguard. Are you having trouble breathing? Yes. You have
Sudden illnesses and injuries can occur anytime, any place. As a lifeguard, you may encounter many types of sudden illnesses, including diabetic emergencies, fainting, seizures, and stroke. In any first aid emergency, you must decide how best to respond to the situation, including when to activate the EAP. Consider the following when deciding how to act. Should I provide care where the victim was found, or should they be moved? Is the safety of the victim or others compromised? Is there a risk of further injury to the victim? Is there a risk of exposing the victim or others to pathogens? Should I summon EMS personnel? When should I recommend that the victim see a healthcare provider to seek further medical treatment? To assess a sudden illness or injury, apply personal protective equipment and perform a primary assessment, asking for consent if appropriate. Care for any life-threatening conditions and use the sample mnemonic to obtain history. If no life-threatening conditions are found, perform a secondary assessment. If you think something is wrong, don't be afraid to ask questions. Look to see if the victim is wearing a medical ID tag that can give you more clues.
Stomach pain ever happened to you before? That's the first time. It's the first time.
Many sudden illnesses have similar signs and symptoms, including lightheadedness, dizziness, or changes in level of consciousness, including confusion, altered mental status, or unresponsiveness. Other signs and symptoms include nausea or vomiting, difficulty speaking or slurred speech, numbness or weakness, loss of vision or blurred vision, changes in breathing, changes in skin color, sweating, persistent pressure or pain, diarrhea, paralysis or an inability to move, or severe headache. Although you may not know exactly what is wrong, guidelines for caring for any sudden illness are generally the same. Summon EMS and provide appropriate care.
He's looking pretty sick. Will you call EMS?
I'll go call EMS right away.
Monitor the victim's condition and watch for changes in LOC. Keep the victim comfortable. Reassure the victim and keep them from getting chilled or overheated. Be sure the victim is fully awake, able to swallow, and follow simple commands. Intake is indicated based on the treatment recommendations before administering any food or drink as part of care. Care for any other problems that develop, such as vomiting. Remember that the victim's condition may worsen rapidly. Call EMS as appropriate.
I need you to call EMS. I have an adult here with a severe allergic reaction.
People who have diabetes may become ill because they have too much or too little sugar in their blood. A person having a diabetic emergency may experience changes in LOC, confusion, irregular breathing, abnormal pulse, feeling or looking ill, and abnormal skin characteristics. If a person is having a diabetic emergency and is awake and able to swallow, give 15 to 20 grams of sugar in the form of glucose tablets to the victim. If not available, 15 to 20 grams of sugar from several sources can be given, including glucose and sucrose containing candies, jelly beans, orange juice, or whole milk. Monitor the person's condition. Call EMS if the person loses consciousness or is unable to swallow, or if their condition doesn't improve within 10 to 15 minutes of taking sugar, or if the victim feels worse after taking sugar. During a seizure, a person may lose consciousness and experience sudden, uncontrollable muscular convulsions lasting several minutes. Breathing may become irregular and even stop temporarily. A seizure is also considered a possible sign of cardiac arrest, so the victim should be assessed and monitored closely. If a person is actively seizing, activate the EAP and remove nearby objects that could cause injury. Protect the person's airway and allow the seizure to run its course. Attempting to stop the seizure or restraining the person can cause injuries. Do not place objects or fingers into the mouth of an actively seizing person. If the victim is responsive and breathing normally, but not fully awake after the seizure is over, check the victim for injuries and place the victim in the recovery position. Reassure the person as you monitor their condition. If a person has a seizure in the water, summon EMS and support the person with their head above water until the seizure ends. Remove them from the water as soon as possible after the seizure, positioning them on their back. Perform a primary assessment and provide appropriate care. A stroke occurs when blood flow is blocked from reaching part of the brain or when there is bleeding in the brain. A stroke can cause permanent damage to the brain if not treated soon after the onset of signs and symptoms, so time is critical. Common signs of stroke include sudden weakness or numbness of the face, an arm, or leg, usually only on one side of the body. Other signs and symptoms include difficulty speaking, blurred vision, severe headache, dizziness or confusion, loss of balance, and ringing in the ears. Use the FAST mnemonic to help identify and care for a stroke. F stands for face. Ask the person to smile. This will show if there is drooping or weakness on one side of the face. A stands for arm. Ask the person to raise both arms in front of themselves to find out if there is weakness in the limbs. S stands for speech. Ask the person to speak a simple sentence and then listen for slurred or distorted speech. T stands for time. Time is critical. If someone demonstrates any of these symptoms, call EMS immediately. Because sudden illnesses can have serious complications, it is important to continually monitor the victim. For example, people with severe allergies could quickly progress to anaphylaxis, and from respiratory distress to respiratory arrest. As you assess what's happening, be sure to summon EMS personnel immediately. If the victim knows of their condition and has medication with them, help the victim access their medication right away. Continue to monitor the victim's condition, even if they have taken medication while you wait for EMS to arrive. If the victim has already taken the medication, help them administer a second dose only if EMS is delayed and they are still demonstrating signs and symptoms of anaphylaxis 5 to 10 minutes after administering the first dose. Help the victim maintain an open airway if necessary.
See, that's what I'm scared of.
Asthma.
I'm very scared of shots myself. And you think that you want me to put a shot into someone? Yeah, I don't know. See, I want to become a veterinarian. And I'm not really scared of animals. And like, it's a different situation when giving a shot to an animal because it's not a human, obviously. But it's like they can't talk back to you. So like, and they can't. You can control them more, and you don't know what they're saying. So it is like a little bit cruel, but still, like, it's way better than a human.
A chronic condition in which the airways swell or become blocked as a result of various triggers can also have serious complications. During an asthma attack, breathing can become progressively difficult, even resulting in respiratory distress. If you suspect someone is having an asthma attack, assist the person with their prescribed quick relief medication, usually an inhaler, if requested and if permitted by state or local regulations. After assisting with the asthma inhaler, continue to monitor the victim's condition. Call EMS if breathing does not improve.
I love the asthma clip. It's so kind. And it's with a little
In
child.
most cases, it is not necessary to know the cause or type of sudden illness, because the care that you provide will be the same, with few exceptions. The victim's condition may worsen rapidly if care is not provided. What are the general steps to take when caring for a sudden illness?
Wait. It was what's the acronym? Sample. S A. There was also face. Give the victim something to drink, even if they insist they are not thirsty. I would say false, because that's like consent, I guess. Keep the victim from getting chilled or overheat, yes. Care for any other problem that develops, such as yes. Monitor the victim's condition and watch, yes. Watch for changes in level of consciousness, yes. Care for any life-threatening conditions first. I want to say true. Keep the victim comfortable and yes, comfortable, yes, and reassure them. I got them all right. Yes, there you guys go. So it's false, true, everything's true. Let's go. Next video.
Many injuries can occur on land at an aquatic facility, including skin and soft tissue injuries, burns, injuries to bones and joints, and even bleeding emergencies. When caring for an injury at your facility, follow these general care guidelines. Activate the EAP, size up the scene, and form an initial impression. Use your senses to check for hazards that could present a danger. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, determine the number of victims, determine the nature of the illness, and form an initial impression to determine if a life-threatening emergency exists, such as unresponsiveness or severe bleeding. Ask yourself, does the victim look sick? Is the victim awake and moving? If the scene appears to be unsafe, move to a safe distance, notify additional members of the safety team, and wait for their arrival. Following the scene size-up, including forming an initial impression, conduct a primary assessment to determine if the victim has any life-threatening conditions, and if so, summon EMS personnel if a call has not already been made. If no life-threatening conditions are found, perform a secondary assessment and care for any conditions you may find. Any injury to the soft tissues, such as the skin, fat, or muscle, is called a wound. Closed wounds occur beneath the skin's attached surface. Bruises and internal bleeding are examples of a closed wound. An opened wound is one in which the skin is broken. This can include an abrasion, laceration, avulsion, or puncture wound. Open wounds can lead to external bleeding.
Be like,
Remember,
hey, hi, I'm a lifeguard. Hi, I'm a lifeguard. Hi, I'm a lifeguard, and my name is Bradley. May I assist to help you, please?
to always apply appropriate personal protective equipment before coming in contact with a victim. Most external bleeding injuries that you encounter will be minor, such as a small cut that can be cared for by applying direct pressure over the wound until the bleeding stops, cleaning the wound, and applying an adhesive bandage with a wound gel or antibiotic ointment. Major wounds do not stop bleeding on their own. To care for a major wound, activate the EAP and have someone summon EMS. Then, cover the wound with a sterile gauze dressing and apply direct pressure over the wound using the flat part of your fingers. You can ask the victim to apply direct pressure. If blood soaks through the first gauze pad, place another pad on top and apply direct pressure if necessary. Cover the dressing with a roller bandage and secure it directly over the wound. Check for circulation beyond the injury. If the wound bleeds through, do not remove the original bandage. Apply additional dressings over the soaked bandage and apply direct pressure. If a wound still won't stop bleeding, follow local protocols when considering other methods of bleeding control. Care for other conditions that may develop, including shock. Any serious injury or illness can result in shock, which is a life-threatening condition in which the circulatory system fails to deliver enough oxygen-rich blood to the body's tissues and organs. Signs and symptoms of shock include restlessness or irritability, altered level of consciousness or LOC, pale, ashen, cool, or moist skin, nausea or vomiting, rapid breathing and pulse, and excessive thirst. To minimize the effects of shock, ensure EMS personnel have been called. Have the victim lie flat on their back. Control any external bleeding. Help maintain a normal body temperature. Monitor the victim's condition and watch for changes in level of consciousness. Administer emergency oxygen if it is available and you are trained to do so. Never give food or water to a victim in shock. Comfort and reassure the victim until EMS personnel arrive and take over. A burn is another type of soft tissue injury that can also occur at aquatic facilities. Heat, radiation, chemical, and electrical. Depending on the source and severity of the burn, you may see redness, blistering, or charring. To care for a burn, remove the person from the source of the burn, then cool the burned area with large amounts of cool or cold tap water for at least 10 minutes. If cool or cold water is not available, use a clean cold compress. If a dry chemical caused the burn, first brush the chemical away with another object before flushing the area. Cover the burn loosely with a sterile dressing and take steps to minimize shock. Comfort and reassure the victim and instruct them to seek follow-up care. Environmental conditions can cause heat-related illnesses or cold-related
This is gonna be very
emergencies,
important
even
to
without
me.
extreme temperatures. Heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke are progressive conditions that can result in death. A victim suffering from heat cramps or heat exhaustion may experience painful muscle spasms, cool, moist, pale, ashen, or flushed skin, a headache, nausea, and dizziness, weakness and exhaustion, and heavy sweating. If the situation progresses to heat stroke, their skin may be hot to the touch, wet, dry, red, or pale. They may not be sweating. The person may experience changes in level of consciousness, vision disturbances, and seizures. The person may vomit, experience rapid and shallow breathing, or a rapid, weak pulse.
Amanda, I'm a lifeguard. Can I help you?
Yeah,
To care for someone suffering from a heat-related illness, move them to a cool place. Loosen or remove clothing as appropriate. Cool the victim, and if they are responsive and able to swallow, encourage them to drink small amounts of a commercial sports drink, coconut water, or milk. If the victim refuses to drink, vomits, or has a mental status change, vision disturbance, or a seizure, summon EMS personnel immediately and take steps to rapidly cool the victim as soon as possible. If it is safe to do so, immerse the victim up to their neck in cold water and continue to monitor them for breathing and a pulse. Cold-related emergencies include hypothermia and frostbite. Hypothermia occurs when the victim's entire body cools because its ability to keep warm fails. Hypothermia can progress into a life-threatening condition. Prompt action at the onset can prevent body temperature from dropping to dangerous levels. A victim who has hypothermia may seem indifferent, disoriented, or confused. You may notice that the victim has a glassy stare. Initially, the victim may shiver, but as the hypothermia progresses, the shivering may stop. This is a sign that the victim's condition is worsening and they need immediate medical care. To care for someone suffering from hypothermia, gently move the victim to a warm place, remove any wet clothing, and warm the victim with blankets or by putting them in dry clothing. Be sure to cover their head. Monitor the victim's condition, watching for changes in level of consciousness, and summon EMS if necessary.
An injury to soft tissue, such as the skin, fat, or muscle, is called a wound. The first aid supplies needed to care for most wounds should be carried in your hip pack. The four main types of open wounds are abrasion, laceration, avulsion, and puncture. Closed wounds, on the other hand, occur beneath the surface of the skin. Internal bleeding may occur when the skin's surface is not broken and damage to soft tissue and blood vessels happens below the surface of the skin. Any serious injury or illness can cause a condition known as shock. Shock is a natural reaction by the body and usually signals that the victim's condition is serious.
Signs and symptoms of shock include restlessness or irritability, altered LOC, pale or ashen cool mist skin, nausea or vomiting, rapid breathing and pulse, excessive thirst.
If someone is displaying signs and symptoms of shock, summon EMS personnel immediately. Carefully review these steps for caring for someone who is in shock. Which step is incorrect?
If someone is displaying signs and symptoms of shock, summon EMS personnel immediately. Which step is incorrect when caring for someone who is in shock? Watch the changes in the victim's LC and control any excess. I feel like that's good. Keep the victim from getting, yes, that's good. Chilled or overheated. Have the victim stand or sit in a chair. I don't think so. Cover the victim with a blanket to prevent loss of body heat. Yes. So it's C. Have them sit. Have them sit or stand in a chair. No. And we were right. You identified the incorrect step. You should have the victim lie flat on their back. Also, remember that you should not give them food or water to a victim or shock, even if the victim asks for them. Okay.
Now that you've reviewed the Responding to Injuries videos, let's address some common first aid misconceptions.
Statements. A victim with a nosebleed should tilt their head back to stop the bleeding. Yes. It's true. It's not a false, right? Hopefully. Remove an impaled object so you can properly, yes. Place a severe body part in ice and a water slurry. Yes. A knocked out tooth can be replaced in milk. No. If an animal bite is severe bleeding, clean the wound thoroughly. Yes. If a victim swallows a poisonous substance, have them drink milk. I don't know about that. If a victim is suffering from hypothermia, submerge them in a hot bath. That would, I don't know, it might be false. But I'm gonna just pick true. It might be false. Yeah. Wow. I would have failed this test. Okay. So the right answers are false, false, true, true, false, false, true, false. Let me repeat that. False, false, true, true, false, true, false, false, false. The last three are false. Okay, so it's going to be false, false, true, false, true, false. Right? Wait, no. Okay. Wait, so it's true? A knocked out tooth can be replaced with in milk? I did not know that. Interesting. So it's going to be two truths, two falses. Why am I saying this wrong? I am so sorry. That's why this stream is scuff. It's going to be two false, two truths, and then three falses.
Carefully review these steps for caring for an injury to a victim's mouth and teeth if a head, neck, or spinal injury is not also suspected. Which step is incorrect?
Apply a dressing. I never heard that before. It's let me see.
Now that you've reviewed the responding to, carefully review these steps for caring for an injury to a victim's mouth and teeth if a head, neck, or spinal injury is not also suspected. Which step is incorrect?
Okay, so the incorrect step is have the victim lean back or lay on their stomach. That's right. This statement is incorrect. Have the victim lean slightly towards or place the victim on their side.
Carefully review these steps for caring for burns. Which step is incorrect?
Stop the burning by removing the person from the source of the burn, obviously. Cool the burn area with large amounts of cold or tap water, yes. Cover the burn area tightly. Ooh, no. I don't know about that. Yes, it was correct. The burn area should be loosely covered. Yes, not tightly covered.
A poison is any substance that can cause injury, illness, or death when introduced into the body. Poisons can be in the form of solids, liquids, sprays, or fumes, such as gases and vapors.
That's pretty scary. Call Poison Control Center at 1-800-222-1222. Refer to the safety data sheet for information regarding the poisonous substance used at your facility if exposure to one of these is believed to be the cause. If the victim was exposed to a chemical poison at your facility and is showing signs of life-threatening conditions, send the SDS safety data sheet with the victim to the doctor or the hospital.
Poisoning by inhalation occurs when a person breathes in poisonous gases or fumes. Poisonous fumes can come from a variety of sources. They may or may not have an odor. Carefully review these steps for caring for someone who has inhaled poisonous fumes or gases. Which of these steps is incorrect?
So the options are size up the scene to be sure that it is safe to help the victim. Summon EMS personnel. Yes, I want to do that. Move the victim to fresh air. I don't know. Care for life-threatening conditions. Yes. Monitor the victim's condition and watch for changes in level of consciousness. Yes. If the victim is responsive, keep them comfortable out. Yes. All of these steps are correct. Which of these steps are correct? Wait, but what if I pick G? All of these steps are correct. It was right, you guys. So all of them were right, and they tricked us. Wow.
Absorbed poisons enter through the skin or mucous membranes in the eyes, nose, and mouth. These poisons come from plants, as well as from chemicals and medications. Poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac are the most common poisonous plants in the United States. Some people are allergic to these poisons and have life-threatening reactions after contact, whereas others may not even get a rash.
Wow.
Carefully review these steps for caring for someone who has been exposed to a poisonous substance. Are any of these steps incorrect?
Removing exposed clothing and jewelry and immediately rinse the exposed area thoroughly with water for 20 minutes. I don't know about that. If a rash or wet blister develops, advise the victim to see healthcare professionals. Yes. In the condition spread to large areas of the body and face, have the victim seek medical. Yes. I don't know about A, but I'll say that all of these steps are correct. And it is. Let's go. All of these steps are correct for someone who has been exposed to a poisonous substance.
While exposure to extreme heat can make a person ill, heat-related illness can occur even when temperatures are not extreme. If recognized early, heat-related emergencies can usually be reversed. If not recognized early, they may progress to a life-threatening condition. Let's review some questions about heat-related illnesses.
Okay. Heat related illnesses. What is the least serious type of heat related illnesses? Heat cramps are painful muscle spasms that usually occur in the legs and abdomen. Heat cramps are the least severe of the heat related illnesses. I think I had a cramp on my thigh. No, not my thigh. On my calf. And it hurts. Like it really hurts. I didn't get, well, they said it. They asked if I was okay. And I said, yeah. So, yeah. Didn't do anything else. What are some signs that a person has progressed to the stage of heat exhaustion? Heat exhaustion is an early indicator that the body's cooling system is becoming overwhelmed. Signs and symptoms include cool, moist, pain, ashen, or flushed skin, headache, nausea, dizziness, weakness and exhaustion, heavy sweating. What is a heat stroke? Heat strokes occur when the body system are overwhelmed by heat causing them to stop functioning. Heat stroke is a life-threatening condition. Signs and symptoms of heat strokes include change in level of consciousness, skin that is hot to the touch, skin that is wet or dry or appears red or pale. Vision disturbance, seizures, vomiting, rapid and slow breathing, rapid and weak pulse, lack of sweating. What care should be provided for a person experiencing a heat related illness? Take the following steps to care for someone suffering from a heat related illnesses. Summon EMS personnel, move the victim to a cooling place, loosen tight clothing, and remove precipitation soaked clothing. Cool the victim by spraying with cool water or applying cool, wet towels to the skin. And if the victim is responsive and able to swallow, encourage them to drink small amounts of a commercial sports drink, coconut water or milk. Give water if none of these drinks are available.
It does not have to be very cold for someone to suffer a cold-related emergency. Cold water, air temperature, and windy conditions can contribute to hypothermia. The victim's skin color may appear waxy, cold to the touch, or discolored, flushed, white, yellow, or blue.
If wet, dry off the victim. Remove wet clothing and warm the victim gradually. Have the victim drink warm, non alcoholic, and caffeine free liquids if the victim is alert. Monitor the victim's condition and watch for changes in level of consciousness.
Accidents, such as falls, are a common cause of injuries to muscles, bones, and joints. There are 4 types of muscle, bone, and joint injuries. In this activity, match the injury to its description.
So a fracture, wait, no, let's do dislocation. Dislocation, a complete break and a complete break. Wait, dislocation is displacement of a bone away from its normal position at a joint. Correct. Okay, a fracture is the first one. A complete break, a chip, or a crack in the bone that is either open or closed, right? Let's go. A sprain is I would say the last one, stretching and tearing of muscles or tension. No, it's not. Okay, so at least I know now. Okay, so a sprain is tearing of ligaments at a joint. Interesting. I learn something new every single day.
Before administering first aid, you should always make sure the victim isn't also suffering from a head, neck, or spinal injury. When deciding whether a person may have a head, neck, or spinal injury, first think about what caused the injury. Head, neck, or spinal injuries can happen on land or in the water. Review the signs and symptoms that might indicate a possible head, neck, or spinal injury.
Head, neck, and spinal injury. Unusual bumps, bruises, or depressions on the head, neck, or back. Heavy external bleeding of the head, neck, or back. Bruising of the head, especially around the eyes and the back of the ears. Blood or other fluid in the ears or nose. Confusion or disorientation, change is in level of consciousness, or persistent headache, seizures, impaired breathing or vision, nausea, partial or complete loss of body of any body part, loss of balance, behavior similar to that of a person under the influence of drugs or alcohol, severe pain or pressure in the head, neck, or back, weakness, tingling, or loss of sensation in the hands, finger, feet, and toes. Okay, it's the last. Hopefully, maybe.
Head, neck, and spinal injuries are serious. Without proper care, they can cause lifelong disability or death. Anytime you suspect a person has a head, neck, or spinal injury, whether the victim is in water or on land, activate your facility's EAP to summon EMS and follow the general procedures for injury or sudden illness on land. When you suspect that someone on land has injured their head, neck, or spine, approach the victim from the front so they can see you without turning their head. Instruct the victim not to move and answer any questions verbally without nodding or shaking their head. Have the victim remain in the position in which they were found and protect them from further injury from others until EMS personnel assume control. Do not attempt to move the head or neck unless the victim is not breathing and you cannot maintain an open airway. If you encounter someone who is standing but has a suspected head, neck, or spinal injury, activate your facility EAP and have someone bring a chair over to the victim and have them sit so they don't fall. Minimize movement of the victim's head by telling them to remain still and avoid turning or twisting their head, neck, or back. Protect them from further injury and comfort them until more advanced help arrives. If the victim's condition becomes unstable and a chair is not available, slowly lower the victim to the ground with the assistance of other lifeguards. Try to limit excessive movement of the head, neck, or spine while the victim is being lowered.
When you attend your classroom portion of the lifeguarding course, there will be several skills that you will practice related to first aid.
Okay. And we are on lesson 8. So, yeah. It only took 55 minutes and it said it estimated for 50 minutes. So let's go. Okay, I'm gonna end stream because I need to eat really fast. So yeah, sorry. I'll see you guys soon. Okay, don't worry, I'm gonna come back. Do not worry. Do not worry. I'm telling you. Okay. I'm gonna go. Bye.